All right, ladies and gentlemen, finally a little bit of feminine relief from the testosterone-driven day. Yes, please. Thank you. Our very special guest, Antoine Gigal, all the way from Egypt. I found out yesterday that Antoine was actually born in Africa, Central Africa, in the Congo. So that makes it even more special to us down here in South Africa. Antoine Gigal is a French writer and researcher and author of The Secret Chronicles of Giza. She's the correspondent in Egypt for the magazine L'Egypte and one of the founders of the organization Giza for Humanity. Antoine went to the Sorbonne University in Paris and to the National Institute of Oriental Languages and Civilizations, where she graduated in Chinese and Japanese languages and civilizations. She also studied Sanskrit, Latin, and ancient Greek, and gained a reputation for translating ancient texts. She also speaks modern Egyptian, Spanish, and Italian fluently. Antoine resides predominantly in Egypt, where she's been exploring the most remote archaeological areas for over 20 years. And you will find out her level of knowledge on Egypt is virtually unsurpassable. So, please put a warm round of applause for our first female speaker, Antoine Gigal. Thank you.
This is my website, gigalresearch.com, and my other website is gizaforhumanity.org. And also, if you want to have news from Egypt every day, even during the event, you can go to my Facebook wall where you have news and pictures every day and true news from Egypt and from each archaeological site also. I want to dedicate this lecture to all our ancestors and to all the women of this planet. In this picture, you can see me in the western desert of Egypt, and what you see behind me is a whale skeleton. Because in the western desert of Egypt, you have thousands of whale and dolphin skeletons, which is a part of my research also. I founded Giza for Humanity 6 years ago for more transparency in Egyptology, for more information to the public, for interdisciplinary, for the survey of ancient Egyptian legacy. In Egypt, I am mainly working with geologists, with Egyptian geologists. So you can see in this picture the team from EXMA. EXMA are the most important geologists in Egypt. Of course, because I speak perfect, fluent Arabic also. This is another part of my research, this one with my team. I discovered a huge complex around the Pyramid of Mauritius. You will see the lecture tomorrow at 5. I discovered also more than 23 pyramids in Sicily. You will see that also in my lecture of tomorrow. Something important is my research is based on 4 things, mainly on physical evidence on the terrain, on the sites. My own theories are also based on evidence I find in hieroglyphic texts, very ancient texts, because I am able to read and translate. And also because I can read classical Arabic texts that are full of interesting comments and memories of what was ancient Egypt legacy around 900 after Christ. And also, I'm searching documents in French, in Italian, about people visiting Egypt in the past time. So, the lecture of today is the divine island of Giza. This is a map of Egypt. So you can see the delta and the Nile. So we will have a walk now together inside Egypt. We will start at the first sun, which is Cairo city. And we will go until the second sun, which is the place of Faiyum. Faiyum, as you will know now, is a depression. So we start in the Giza plateau. You see the 3 pyramids, and we are facing the south. This is a recent picture of the Giza plateau. You can see the Sphinx. And what is important is to see the slope. You see that there is a slope. This is very important. The top of the plateau is not flat. This is a drawing, an ancient drawing, and you can see also there the slope. And behind, you see the green. This part was flooded by the Nile every year during 3 months. So this picture is from 1 month ago. There you can see the elevation of the plateau very well. This is a cross-section of the Giza plateau from west to east through the center of the pyramid of Khufu. What is important to see is that the Nile is sea level at 0 degrees, and the plateau is going up until 75 meters above the sea level. So you have on the plateau very different degrees and elevation. Now we will speak about the 150 scholars of Napoleon in Egypt in 1798, because they did an incredible work. And the main thing was the mapping of Egypt in that time. So I went to the main bank of Cairo, Egyptian National Bank, because I knew that the original of this book you see on the picture, which is the Description de l'Égypte, Description de l'Égypte was the outcome of the collaboration of more than 150 prominent scholars and scientists who accompanied Napoleon in 1798, and some 2,000 talented artists and technicians producing 20 volumes of text and plates of unmatched accuracy and detail. Those volumes are told like that. And this one is the original one. He is closed inside the bank behind special glass, and I was very happy to see. Why? I will tell you now. This is an example of the mapping they did with a lot of details, elevations on all the village. The red point is Cairo city in that time. So in this book, I found this plate, which is a map of Giza in 1799. And you can see many different things. You can see this. You can see this other wall. And you can see the geological features of Giza Plateau in that time. If you put the water of the Nile, you have this. This is a comparison. Then I found another map. This one bigger. You see with all these geological features, and always this and this. If I put the water, it's like this. So it is showing that Giza was an island before. But it was not enough. I found another map from 1878 from Prise d'Aven, and you have exactly the same thing. And what is important is that today, Egyptian archaeologists are finding harbors near this part, and also there. Another cart from Lepsius in 1850, the same. Another cart from Pering in 1837, always the same. And this is, the drawing you see, is exactly this. And this, they name that the Wall of the Crow. This is a very recent name. It is a place where they are discovering from many years now many tombs inside the wall and behind and under the sand. But this was not a place for tombs before, because I found that the true name of this was the bridge in Southern Dyke. And it is attested in this drawing by Andrews in 1842, but I discovered many other attestation in Arabic text. So this was a true dike. Now you have the northern dike. There, I put the water, because of course every year the water of the Nile was coming up to the delta 3 months by year. This is a map of Cairo in 1548. All what you see, of course from Europeans coming in travel, all you see there, house by house, I found it in ancient Arabic map. It is exactly, the monuments, the streets are perfectly accurate. And what do you see the other side of the Nile? You see little outcrop of rocks and the pyramids on the top of one. So like a series of islands. Of course, this depiction is naive, but it is interesting to see that. The same map was redone in 1572, so this time with color. So you can see the pyramid there and other pyramids on the plateau over there. Then you have this French painting by Tucher in 1780. And this is very interesting because the angle of the pyramid of Khufu, you see, was taken from this place. And it shows that the water was over there also. So it shows also that it was an island. Then you had the discovery of different extensive erosion patterns found on different elevations in the Giza plateau with an existing ancient shoreline. This is a photo taken from a drawing by Maspero, a very well-known French Egyptologist. And this is showing you the erosion pattern of a shoreline. This picture is from this year, the same. Of course, not only sea, but wind erosion. This is not rain erosion, this is sea erosion. Very different pattern. These blocks are extensively eroded, showing intertidal notches that are due to wave mechanics and sea spray. You have also in my team an Egyptian researcher who found this echinoid. This is a shallow marine creature petrified in recent time, and it has been found by him. His name is Sherif El Morsi, and it is embedded upright in the upper surface of a block adjoining the Menkaura pyramid. It is not a residue inside the limestone. It is a true sea urchin, completely entire. We are analyzing it, and we are discovering incredible things, and we have others. So now we begin the walk. We are starting from this point. So you are there, and we are going south. This is Kafra, this is this is Khufu, this is Kafra. You see the age 8 of the plateau there, normal 8 of the plateau, and this is higher. You have Khufu just behind. And in fact, under this sand, you have docks. I will show you now. Okay, we are facing the south. So you have the level of Cairo city there with the Nile. Second, we have the 8 of the normal plateau. And then you have the 8 of the docks. And the docks are running south. 1, 2, 3. In this picture, you can very well see that these are ancient roads up on a dock running south. You have ancient layers of pavement, petrified now, well, very petrified. You have angles, perfect angles everywhere. And this is an infrared tomography showing, you see the red lines, I put a yellow on it. All that is showing immense walls, in fact, docks under the sand. The other side of of the docks, the inner side, you have sea sediments. You can see there very well. And you have also facing blocks and stone blocks, ancient docks. So we started there and we are going this way. We are in Giza and we will go until Faiyum Depression there. All along you have a lot of pyramids, place as you know. Abusir, Saqqara, Dashur, Licht, Meidum, full of pyramids. So we will do that. And you see there a mouth, an entrance for the Nile to go inside the depression. Faiyum is a depression west of Nile, south of Cairo, 80 kilometers from Cairo. And the lake is 214 kilometers square. The lake is 45 meters under the sea level. And they said that the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty built immense waterworks. In fact, for me, it's only a restoration. So it's much older. And an example is that in 2300 before Christ, a canal was deepened, widened, connecting the Nile with Faiyum Lake. But what is interesting is that in the past you had 2 lakes. Now you only have 1 because all is very dry. But in the past you had 2 lakes and one was artificial and one natural. You still have the natural one, but you had one artificial. And I will tell you why it was so important. Amenemhat first is the main pharaoh who did those immense waterworks. He did hydraulic locks, dams, network of diversion canals, and this is still working today. Amenemhat I, he died in 1962 before Christ. But for me, he did only restoration and added some canals and dams. So we go now to Faiyum. We enter there, and this entrance, you have 2 pyramids. Why it is so important to know that you had also, you see the natural lake there. It was much larger before. And here, you had the artificial lake. Don't forget that this is a depression. So when the Nile was flooding, the water rushed into the artificial lake, which was after a slope. And all the fish of the Nile were trapped into the artificial lake. And the pharaohs did that in order to give food all the year long to their population. So the population were never starved because they always have fish to eat. This is a mouth. So here you have a pyramid, Hawara pyramid, and there you have Ilahun pyramid. I will show you now. And also, you have canals. The canals of the pharaoh are over there. This is one canal, Yusuf Canal, widened in 2300 BC. And this canal diverged into 8 main canals that send the water throughout the depression. It's an immense work. Much more stones were used to do all this network than to build all the pyramids. We go to the Hawara pyramid. Hawara pyramid. is there, and you see the canal. Youssef, I just show you, is there, still working today. Our pyramid is covered by earth bricks. But of course, the core is a huge limestone megaliths. So inside this pyramid of Hawara, they said that it was built by Amenemhat III. I think it was restored by Amenemhat III, because the pharaohs used to put their stamp when they did a restoration. Inside this pyramid, you have only one chamber and 3 corridors. Let us go inside. You can't go inside. Why? Because it's full of water. And why is it full of water? A lot of archaeologists said, oh, this is only the water table level high up, rising up. I said no. I said no. Why? Because when you see the Lepsius text, the ancient text of the archaeologists, you find a story on also the Arabic text saying that after Lepsius came inside this pyramid for the first time, people came to loot the chamber, and to find gold. And at the moment, they move a stone inside the corridor, and all the water came up. And from that time, the pyramid is full of water. They tried to dry it, impossible. All the time, water is rising up again. They forgot something. It's that you have a lot of hieroglyphic inscription where you have the hieroglyph of per nature and the hieroglyph of Asgat, water. Per nature is the house of the gods, the pyramids, and Asgat is water. So not always, but often you have this. The association of pyramid with water. You are facing a water pump. This is the pyramid of Hawara. You have the famous labyrinth there, Rins, and you have the canal Youssef going there. And I was speaking a lot with the Egyptologists, the archaeologists, etc., and they decided to make a hole there to see if they dug a hole and the water is coming up, then they are right, it is a water table. But if not, they don't find water, so it's me who is right. Because it's a system between the canal with an inside system going inside under the pyramids. When you want to enter under the pyramid, if you are not allowed, then the water is coming up to protect what is under. And all this area is full of subterranean network going kilometers away, and also to the other pyramid I will show you now. So they dug the hole. You can see me there near the hole. But they never found water. It's dry, as you see. This is interesting because you can see an ancient pavement there. So it is definitively a system, like the first archaeologist in 1880 said. It's a hydraulic system. This is the second pyramid at the mouth of the entrance of the Nile. This is Illahun pyramid, the same. It is mud brick covered. And you can see just behind the mastabas. Mastabas are true tombs. For that, pyramids were never tombs. They don't need it to make tomb inside. So you see this pyramid, Illahun, and in 27 they discovered stairs. You can see me there, and the stairs, incredible stairs, modern stairs, quite modern, but in fact they are very old. The same place in 28, and you see the progress in the digs. And what are facing those stairs? A place where you had a lot of water. Because in fact, the mouth I show you is over there. So the Nile was entering there, and all the water was there. Why? Because we found all that is ancient sediments, water sediments, Nile sediments. And you have immense docks every side. I will show you now. You have even salt, blocks of salt, marine salt. And you will understand why after. So, water coming from the Nile, there, you have to imagine. These are recent digs. They discovered docks and stairs, facilities for boats. Also, sandstone moved by the water. And just behind this pyramid, you see the same pyramid over there. You see all this line, and you see the stones there. All that is the top of immense, huge docks. You are on the top of a dock. There you had facilities for the boats. And on the top of the docks, you have pavements. And when you dig the pavement, you find this, layers of stones. You can see me there making measurements, and all this was full of water before. This is the pavement of the top of the dock. Of course, it's all recovered by the sand. The progress of the digs. So you can see in the depression there, it was water, and this is a seawall, ancient seawall place. So we come back, the lake there. This is the lake of Faiyum. As I told you, 214 square kilometers and 45 meters under the sea level. This is the vision you have of the sunset when you are on the lake, because it's a depression. It's like the Red Sea. It's an optical illusion. You had the impression that there is a gap and the sun coming into the gap. And this is the hieroglyphic you have on the true door of the Great Pyramid. This there. Achet. And Achet means a lot of things. They all speak about horizon. Horizon is only one translation of this hieroglyphic. The ancient Egyptian had many different translations for the same hieroglyphic. It depends on your level of consciousness and knowledge. And Achet means also, and much more, inundation. So all is speaking about water and inundation. So you have the Faiyum Lake, and we will go now to the desert. Here you have the fortress of Dima el Seba. It means the fortress of the lion. This is a satellite view. So you have the lake there. You have the fortress in ruins, of course, and you have this, the road. I put pink to see it. You can see the causeway. This causeway is very famous. I will show you now. And Dime fortress is very important because not only you had remains of recent times, it means Grecian times and Roman times, Ptolemaic times, and also you have remains of dynastic times, but you also have remains of Neolithic times, so about 5,500 before Christ. It was a very, very important trading place. So we are facing the lake now, the fortress and the causeway. This is the causeway today. You can imagine how new he looks, incredible. And these are the fortress in ruin. There you have the Faiyum Lake. It's pure beauty. What you see, the causeway is very strange. Your causeway is not flat. You have a height for the causeway. Very important. This is just to show you what is inside the fortress. You have many different ruins of different time of temples. When you go outside the fortress, on your right and on your left, you have immense docks again. We went there, I checked the stones, and the same docks and in the other side of the lake. So what we have there the fortress, we have the causeway, and you have there the ancient marks of the water level. Of course, it dried from many years. And what is interesting is that Egyptologists never think that ancients are right in their texts, because in the text, ancient text, I can translate, it is written that this fortress was an island. And when you show that to them, they said, but not, it's in the middle of the desert. Just use your eyes and go to geologic survey, and you will find that it is a true island inside a canal. It was a canal, and the shoreline of the lake was there. You will understand now why it is so important. You also have sandstone eroded by water. I found this map, very ancient map, showing the Lake Faiyum. During the Grecian time, it had the name of Murray's Lake, but it's a Faiyum Lake. And what you see at Dime, the fortress I just showed you, you have a canal going to another lake, which is near Alexandria, and you have there the Mediterranean Sea. So they were able to navigate from the south of Egypt and much more far away, and going up the Nile and joining by the mouth you saw, by the canals, the Lake of Faiyum, then taking this canal, going to Mayotis and then to Alexandria and the Mediterranean Sea. It is an incredible work, stone work. This map I showed you is from Abraham d'Ortelio. It was published in 1570, and it is the first modern map of Egypt. And what do you see inside the Faiyum map, the Faiyum Lake map? The Faiyum Lake, you see two pyramids there. Many people wanted to make research, and they think that the pyramids were flooded and were under the lake water. And also Egyptologists, also archaeologists. But I said, you have a very short memory. Because in fact, Flinders Petrie discovered those two kinds of pyramids. But they were not able to know where they were. You have a text from Herodotus saying, I saw two pyramids with immense statues on the top when he was in a boat in Faiyum Lake. So where are these kind of pyramids? This is a depiction of what it will looks like, but in fact, I rediscovered after Flinders Petrie, it is this size in reality. And I will show you now what is this. It's important to understand that around 4000 BC, the climate changed and the Faiyum began to dry up. During the Old Kingdom, the lake was known as Tashi, the Southern Lake, or Hunt, the discharge lake. This is the artificial lake. And we know that in Pharaoh's time, the province was known Lashet. It's to say the lake land. This is a map done of Faiyum, done by the French engineer who built the Suez Canal. You have there the artificial lake, and there the natural lake, and with all the canals. There you have the mouth where you have. And we go now to this place, because it is in this place that I rediscovered where are these two pyramids. The place is Bihamu. It is important to understand that the hydraulic systems in old Faiyum are still so amazing. But in that time, for example, in 1672, the King of France, Louis XIV, sent a man, the father of Vansleb, to see the Faiyum hydraulic systems, because they wanted to do the same in France. But when the man came back with all the information, they were not able to do the same because too much amount of work and stones. This is a drawing made, I found again, and you can, of the place of Bihamu, and you see the two kind of ruins, the two kind of pyramids in ruin, small. So I wanted to rediscover where it is. It was very difficult because no road to go inside this countryside. And after many research, I discovered this. In fact, as Petrie wrote in his text, it's not pyramids, but huge pedestals in form of pyramids. And near this pedestal in form of pyramids, I discovered other docks. You are there. It was 20 meters at the origin, with a huge statue of Amenemhat III on the top. You also have a raised causeway. And this is a picture taken by plane. You have the two, because you have two pedestals. And the shoreline of the flooding water from the Nile were coming until this. And you had the boats coming in front, the two statues of the pharaoh to welcome. This is a drawing made by my team, so you can see how it looked before. This is a drawing made by Fischer van der Laak in 1721, but he exaggerated the size and he put temples on the top, which is not right. But it was depicted as an island. This is the engineer, Linan de Belfond, who did the Suez Canal. And he was so amazed by the hydraulic system of Faiyum that he lived in Faiyum. The canals still working today. And you have those huge water wheels still working from 3000 before Christ. And it is not Arab water wheels, it is pharaonic, ancient Egyptian wheels. It's made only of wood and beeswax. And the Holland people, the Dutch people, are so amazed by this work that they came every year to restore it. On all the canal system in Faiyum, the hundreds of kilometers of canals are maintained by these wheels. You have plenty of these wheels. You see how huge are the canals from the pharaohs. System of levels from the pharaohs. Systems everywhere. Completely in agreement with nature. Canals everywhere. You also have the same stuff in other areas of Egypt, in the desert. Huge waterworks. This is in the delta. I found this canal in the delta. It's very important because at the second International Conference on Geology at Cairo University in March 27, scientists told about the discovery of canals at the Giza pyramids and the Luxor temple, an ancient artwork showing Egyptians using boats or barges to move large stones. Workers move the massive blocks and other artifacts directly to their final destinations over waterways. So, if I quote Dr. Paricek, professor of geology from Penn State University, what you have is a very strong evidence that they may have loaded these stones in at the quarry, and as a result, not dragging and hauling them over land. Egyptians use also highly efficient submerged transportation techniques. The site of the Pyramid of Giza appears to have been designed to contain water at the pyramid base. You see the wall of retaining wall. It may be that this was to facilitate transportation of large foundation stones in watery mud in canals around the perimeter. Oh, sorry. This is a drawing made by Stephen Myers, a researcher. He offered me to put on my presentation today to show you about the water network on Giza. It was shown at the university in Cairo. He wrote a book, Lost Technologies of the Great Pyramids, very interesting about waterways. And you see, this is Khafra Pyramid, and this is the so-called quarry. But in fact, it was a submerged quarry. And it was much more easy to move the stones inside the water. And you have the same in Luxor. Then I will show you the Giza water elevators and siphon. This is the research of the Colonel Mooney, it's a French colonel, more than 20 years ago. Colonel Mooney did the preface of my book, of my second book, Giza Chronicle. And he think that there was subterranean canals linking the elevator pit to the Campbell pit. I will show you what it is. You have the Sphinx there. You have the so-called Campbell tomb, which is not a tomb. Everybody knows that it is not a tomb. And there you have the so-called elevator, pit, water elevator, I will show you. This is the elevator. So you had a sliding ramp. This colonel of the French army was expert in this kind of stuff. This is a platform, and then you had another platform descending and ascending with the water level. And it is exactly like in the modern boats of today, hydraulic elevators. Or also submarine elevators. Submarine is going down and then enters the canal under the ground. So this colonel, before he died, gave me his research in order I continue his work. Again. And what is very interesting and what I discovered, you see this black stuff there. You find this all inside around the stones. In fact, it is tar, and it was the best waterproof thing to put to protect from the water. This is the so-called Campbell tombs. They call that Campbell tomb because Campbell, the English, discovered this in 80, something like this. He discovered inside a sarcophagus, but this sarcophagus was not, was very recent, in fact, and was just put inside. So, in fact, you can see water erosion lines inside and outside. It was an immense siphon. You see the line of erosion. This picture I took, now nobody can take because it's completely covered. Now I want to bring you to Abu Hawash. Abu Hawash is at the north of the Great Pyramid, where you have this pyramid. You don't have any roof for the inside chambers because the pyramid was destroyed by people searching the stones for their homes after the earthquake in Egypt a long time ago. So it's very interesting because when you go inside, you can see directly the inside chamber. But I don't want to show you that exactly. I want to show you this. This is very near this pyramid you just see. And what you see there, you see two classic entrances of tombs. All the tombs in Egypt entrance are like this. And what you see these stairs, very bizarre. You see what you see? These stairs? Incredible how they did that. Can you imagine the amount of work? You see the stairs over there going inside? Of course, I went inside. This is very narrow. You just have the place for 2 persons. You see the man inside there? It is my driver from 20 years. You see how deep it is? They call that the Roman pit. I'm sorry, but I saw many Roman pits, and it's not a Roman pit. You also have a true Roman pit very near. This is much more interesting. When I put the camera like this, I see that. And you can see on the top of the... You see these stones, huge megalithic stones, how they did that. You are in the middle of the desert. So, of course, you will ask me what you find inside. You find water. And it depends on the level of dryness of the year, but it continues very deeply. I saw 37 meters deep, dry, and it continues. So what is this? It was obviously full of water. It's, you know what? I suppose it's a very interesting, when this is full of water, you can see very well the elevation of the stars by night. You need it to it is needing the water on the top. But this is research I'm continuing. Then, very important thing is the Giza boat pits and naval technology. At the feet of the pyramids, you have boat pits. Why? See the boat pit? You have 2 kinds of boat pits. You have non-covered boat pits, like this one, like this one, like this one. And this is a schema of the covered boat pits. You have 2 covered boat pits at the feet of the Great Pyramid on the south side, and each side they found 2 boats in pieces. This is a covered boat pit because they built a museum up this boat pit covered with stones. This is a discovery of Kamal al-Malek in 1954, and the covered boat pit in the south side of the Great Pyramid. What is amazing is, for example, the boat, it's inside the museum, 1,224 pieces, and all pieces with marks, like a puzzle, in order you can be able to rebuild it quickly. It's a boat pit, it's a boat kit. So you see the drawing when they discovered the boat pit in pieces, the boat in pieces. 13 layers of material, 58 small masts and poles, 40 years to be built again, because in modern time we are very stupid. This is the boat pit rebuilt. The boat rebuilt. This is in the museum. Imagine. Fantastic boat. And you had experts, because the archaeologists who are not good in expertise for marine ancient boats, but well, they said, oh, this is a boat for the soul of the pharaoh, and this is a boat not able only to go on the river. But experts from Norway of the Drakkar said, no, this is a true high sea boat. You see, it's similar. And they use ropes inflating in water, like in Estonia, like in Neolithic boats. Completely natural. This is an example in the Viking Museum. So you see the ropes there? They inflate when the boat is in the water, so the water don't enter the boat. Completely natural. And so they said these boats are for the soul of the pharaoh of Khufu. Yes, and why do you have two boats? Did he have two souls? And also the boats the pharaoh had were completely different. They were fantastic with paintings, very rich depiction, etc. This one is without anything written, any decorations, very simple. This is the techniques they use to build the boat. In a report, Pyramid Carbon Dating Project of this boat, the dating of a plank of this boat, they discovered that the plank was from 3,400 before Christ, more ancient than Khufu Rang. So this is not the boat of Khufu. You have plenty of boats in other places of Egypt, but always at the feet of pyramids of very high, of very big fortress. I go fast. Neolithic boats in the Petri Museum, same boats depicted. You have the same in Denmark. You have the same in a lot of countries. So we are facing a civilization where the management of the water network by canals, hydraulic systems, and with the Nile and seafaring life were of the first magnitude for humanity's sake. Why? There are hundreds of serious texts in ancient Arabic, as for example from the great historian and geographer Al-Biruni, born in 973 AD, and from Ibn Abd al-Hakim in the, you have the manuscript in Oxford, attesting of the real existence of a pharaoh Saurid living in a pre-dynastic time. The pharaoh learned by his great priests and astronomers that a big catastrophe will submerge his country 300 years later, so he built a pyramid to protect the knowledge and the population under it. There are also a lot of hieroglyphic texts attesting that. Very important document, the papyrus of Abu Hormais, found recently, written in Coptic, then translated into Arabic in 822. This document, which is a copy of older documents explains that before a great flood, the king Saurid built a great pyramid in order to save the population under it. In the ancient Egyptian book, the Book of the Celestial Cow, you have a version of the big flood. A chapter title is History of the Destruction of Humanity. In the book of the ritual, called also the Book of the Revelation, you get the story of a boat, an ark, saving souls. It was the ark boat of the god Nu, which is very similar to Noah. And Nun is called the Lord of the Flood in a Thutmose III inscription in Luxor. And now you have the chapter 64 of the so-called Book of the Dead, which is a mistranslation for the book to come to the light of the day. The chapter 64 is the more ancient of this book, which is a compilation of very different texts and spells unified only during the 18th dynasty. You find it also inside the pyramid text dating from the 5th dynasty, but you have texts from 1st dynasty saying that the chapter 64 was already old during the 1st dynasty. Sir Wallis Budge, the great English archaeologist, also said that the right title is Coming Forth by Day from the Subterranean World. And what we found in the description of a catastrophe by a huge flood, we found that inside this text. It is said in that chapter also that when Osiris saw the water coming, he asked help from the Lord of the flood. And to finish, you have in Italy, in Florence, the gate, the so-called Gate of Paradise. These proto-Renaissance doors consist of 28 quarterfold panels, with the 20 top panels depicting scenes of the life of St. John the Baptist, designed in 1329 by Andrea Pisano. This is the church where the Baptist people, and this is the door, the so-called Gate of the Paradise. And what you see in the Noah panel the Great Pyramid depicted with the animals leaving the ark. It is written that in the text. You see the animals, lions, etc., leaving the ark. This is very interesting because it is attesting all the ancient hieroglyphic texts and Arabic texts. So, it's now finished. I just wanted to add that my next tour in Egypt is from the 15th of October until the 23rd of October. And you will see all what I show you during this travel on many other sites, non-open to the public. You can go to my Facebook page or to my website.